I wanted to make a video today. I had this feeling, but at the same time there's been so much I've been kind of working through within myself that I just felt like whatever topic I pick, it will I won't be able to do it justice without getting too entangled or too like I needed more time to clarify my thoughts and to make it a valuable exchange. And then so we went for a walk, and it's been so busy around here today. So every time I wanted to do something, there's been someone passing by and just kind of ruining my groove. And I've done a terrible thing. Oh Jesus, okay. I made myself all muddy. No, that's my dog trying to sit on me. No, stop it. Anyway, oh, he's been pain in the ass today as well, running after deer and all sorts of things. Yeah, he's not very discreet when we find something curious that I have to pick up discreetly without attracting attention. He gets always so excited. So anyway, I found a squirrel recently, and well, a dead squirrel, and I've been thinking what to do with it. I'm not a taxidermist. I'm obviously very much into my bones and dead things, but I don't have such a skill myself. It's much more complex than one would think. You definitely can't just leave it to dry and that's it. Well, hopefully, unless you just want bones, but that's a different art. And it's not always as simple either to get them cleaned properly. So I've been wondering. I know that when I found birds and different moments, I managed to take their wings and feet and just keep them dry. They just kind of dry on their own, and somehow they survive. But I was thinking a bit too long, and I decided, of course, to let it sleep peacefully in the forest at some point. And so I picked it up from my safe place where I kept it. Well, initially I put it in the freezer, but then I did some shopping and I needed the space in the freezer. So, and it's been quite warm recently, so I had to hurry. That's not how I wanted this video to go, but so be it. And of course I would go on and on about that, but this is exactly what I was trying to avoid today. And I was going to say that, oh yeah, I wanted to keep it light for today. So talking about dead squirrels and the funeral of a squirrel and the hedgehog was kind of comical, really, because like I said, like before, I used to have this feeling that I should do something. I can't just let the animal kind of go unnoticed and just leave it there and ignore it. I found that, I don't know, I always felt bad when I did that, like, oh, I should have done something without really knowing what. I didn't necessarily feel like any of these animals cared about having a funeral, but maybe it was just for myself. Maybe it was never about any of these creatures, but still. So then I started, then I would see something and I say, okay, if I'll come back for it, and it was never there. So I started having this, habit of just like picking things up, and So I didn't think too long. I just picked it up, and so so my dog got all excited, and I'm still in the area when I'm still in the village, and there are houses, and I'm just like, okay, quick. Just, so so I was very careful with it and all, and of course my dog was not very discreet, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to probably leave it somewhere in the woods as well. And I was leaving the squirrel and sending it on its last journey. My dog found some other remains actually in a place where I felt it was a right place for it. So I just found it interesting because it was such a random place. And that kind of reminded me of some other stories that that I wanted to share, which seemed so, I don't know, they seem so trivial, and at the same time they were so meaningful. Like even the fact that they were a story for me, that somehow they made it into a story. Maybe it's just my attention that made them alive, but I don't know. I tend to feel a lot of, see a lot of things as a part of a story. They're not just random occurrences. Maybe that's what makes them happen, really. That's what makes these things happen. Like sometimes I laugh that I just kind of, I can't have a normal day. Something weird doesn't happen. Like I was talking about, like, oh, nothing weird ever happens, and then it's just this random thing. It's like, why? But of course, I also provoke them, I think, with my reaction, with my interpretation of these events, I think. But that's useful to remember, that this kind of view and interpretation provokes other things to happen. And whether that is, whether we dress it up in a magical narrative or just see it as a curiosity, well, they still happen. So, it's really up to you what you do with it. So for following this sort of urges, weird things happen then. And, I had this, I'm not sure if I shared it before, I had this situation after I was in Spain in lockdown, and the first day, very first walk, when they let us out, the first day for the first walk, I was up since very early hours, and I realized, oh, hang on a second, this is when we are allowed to go outside. So I kind of walked out, and like this animal coming out from a cage and not fully believing that I can actually do this legally now and, and be go for a walk after all these weeks. Somebody is impatient. Yes. And so I went out, and on my way back I've noticed that little bird on the pavement, just kind of walking, and I nearly kind of I nearly bumped into it because I didn't notice, and it didn't fly away like normally a bird would. So I kept walking, and then I'm like, hang on a second. So I came back, I turned around, I'm like, whoa, he's not flying away, and I think maybe something's wrong with it. And I had this moment of like, okay, what do I do? What is the right thing to do here? Sometimes I would wonder that, what's the right thing to do? And it is kind of, I don't know where it comes from. Is it? I think there are many interpretations of that. Why Well, there are certainly situations in which I wouldn't do anything and then feel guilty about it, and that would make me think that there is a reason why I feel guilty, and therefore perhaps next time I have to react differently, even if I didn't fully understand why. But I always feel that if you notice something, just the act of noticing and being aware brings responsibility with it, because there are so many people who are not aware of things, and as hard as it is, even if they do, let's say objectively wrong things, if they're not aware. You can't make them aware, at least not just like, unless it's something completely, trivial. But I mean, in a grander kind of meaning. But if you are aware of something, that kind of automatically makes you responsible, because you have a choice. You have a choice what to do with it. And that's kind of, that kind of sucks, because, being aware, especially when you are too aware of everything that's happening with you, it just brings more and more questions. And you question yourself, you question your morality, you question your conscience, and it's hard work. Sometimes it's one wishes not to see things, not to know things, and it's definitely easier to make this decision, and life can change completely. And so, for example, okay, I hesitated, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this bird, and I'm gonna take care of it until it can fly again. Because I knew that where it was just full of cats, and it would last, a few minutes. And I'm like, I have a chance to play God. What do I do with it? So, next minute I have this little bird in my hands, and I'm like, fuck, what do I do with this? What do I do? And I brought it back to where I was staying, with completely thinking that, people would think I'm crazy, completely crazy to bring an animal there. And so I have to keep it a secret on top of that. And then I'm in my room with this bird hopping around. I'm like, okay, what do I do? So just thinking of the simplest things, and what's the right thing to do. And that night I didn't have any sleep. Didn't get any sleep, and my eyes were closing, and I finally gave up and needed some sleep. So I kind of bird-proofed the room, hoping that it's not going to make too much noise and give it away, and put me into trouble. But it was acting weird, and it didn't really want to eat or drink. And after a while, when I woke up, it was pretty much on its way out. I mean, pretty much, leaving us. And it was really, really, really sad. And I cried for this bird more than I thought I would. That wasn't the first time I saw something dying, but yeah, it was really touching, and I felt like it was my fault as well. Like, I made the wrong decision. Like, it was better to leave it there. Maybe, maybe it was a young bird and its parents were looking for it. I don't know. I don't know birds' dynamics. There's just so much that I don't know about nature and how to take care of it. And even if my intentions are good, I might have done something wrong accidentally. So it was difficult, and then I was looking, for a place to bury it, and it was the whole thing. Very soon after, well, maybe not that soon, I was in a different place then, but I found another bird, and it was a similar situation. I was with my dog, but the bird was an adult, and it was much more in nature, in the mountains, and I saw this bird. I think my dog found it very enthusiastically, and I'm not sure if he kind of. I'm pretty sure it didn't. He didn't catch it because he's. I mean, the bird of the size wouldn't be just kind of. It would fly away. I think it was injured before, and he just kind of maybe made it worse, but I don't think he caught that bird. Anyway, I told him off, and I took this bird, and with my dog kind of jumping around and thinking that this is so much fun, and me trying to, I picked up this bird, and I'm like, okay, but what now? We're in the middle of mountains. What am I going to do with it? I don't even have a box to put it in. So I was just kind of holding it in my hoodie and trying not to let my dog eat it. And as we reached the top of the hill, there were some other people there, and it must have been a very funny look as well. Me very preoccupied with this bird, like what do I do? And then my dog running around and all happy, and I'm just kind of like. And then there was a snake in the grass as well, and I was very excited to see. I love snakes, and I wanted to take a picture, and at the same time telling my dog off because he wanted obviously to make friends with the snake. And I'm like, I don't need more trouble right now. Like my both hands were holding the bird, who was trying to also get out and being all panicky. I was asking. I met someone on the top of the hill, and they. I was asking if they have a box or something, just randomly. Like, yeah, of course we would have a box. Why wouldn't you have a box? I always carry a box around. Maybe that's a good advice, actually. Maybe it's a good takeaway from that. Always carry a box for all sorts of things, dead or alive. Anyway, well, unfortunately, soon after, as we reached the top of the hill and the sun was going down, that was a great view for the sunset. That was kind of my, that was the point of that walk. While the bird was, again, going through the bridge. And again, I was like, no, it's not happening again. Why? I felt so useless and so like I can't stop this from happening. There's nothing I can do. And maybe I even made things worse. So it was really, really sad. And I think I wrote about it as well on my my website. But this kind of these situations always, they don't leave me indifferent. And things die all the time, but it's a bit different when they die in your hands. But I'm not sure what the moral of the story was here. Just something I thought of today, while seeing this squirrel and hedgehog and like some kind of reverse Snow White, some Snow White from the underworld. So yeah, let's see. I think we should go home now, definitely. Yes, Loki. I'll see you soon. Bye.